Dear first year taught students, our topic for today is res ipsa liquita. So don't get confused, it is a Latin phrase which means the thing speaks itself. And please remember, it is a very good proof of evidence. Normally, if you file a civil case, you file a criminal case, you file a case of tort, it is the duty of the plaintiff to prove the case beyond all reasonable doubt before the court. For that, he needs some evidence. So he has to produce some witnesses, he has to produce some documents, and something like that. In the documents, you may prove you may produce some photos or you may produce some videos like that. You can do it. But instead of the witnesses, if you are able to prove the case with a photo, with a videograph, with the recorded evidence, definitely it will show that the thing, it shall show the thing itself. That is what is called the thing speaks itself. You need not produce any witnesses, they may not be necessary at that, but if you are able to produce second of evidence, then there is no necessity for producing the oral evidence of the so many witnesses. So now another important point is, so with this, the concept of res ipsa loquitur, the burden of proof shifts from the plaintiff to the defendant. Normally, just now I told you that a plaintiff has to come to the court, he has to produce evidence, all these things. But once you are able to produce the so-called res ipsa loquitur concept, then the burden shifts on him, that he has to say, the defendant has to prove that he has not committed the offense, which is not possible, really not possible. Difficult, I cannot say possible, it is difficult. So please remember, but there are certain essential elements to say that, to prove the res ipsa loquitur. Number one, the situation or the thing which caused the accident or which caused the harm must be within the absolute or the exclusive control of the defendant. So if it is not in his hands, he can go for the so-called inevitable accident or act of God, things like that. Then second, the accident would not have happened in the ordinary course of nature. And third is, the defendant gives no explanation. Normally, there will be no explanation in the hands of the defendant, then only res ipsa loquitur will be observed. So, in the case of state of Rajasthan versus Vidyavati 1932, the accident itself, the accident which caused the death of husband of Vidyavati itself is sufficient and it is treated as res ipsa loquitur. In the case of Pillutla Savitri versus G.K. Kumar 2000, same thing happened. So the advocate who was studying underneath that so-called under construction veranda, so due to the defect of the construction, it fell down on him and he died. So it was photographed. The incident itself is sufficient to say that, so that is res ipsa loquitur. No other evidence is necessary. So Pillutla Savitri, she was given compensation. Municipal Corporation, Delhi Administration versus Saubhagyavati, same thing. So the corporation could not maintain or they did not maintain the clock tower properly in the Chandni Chowk, Delhi, due to which cracks were given and it has fallen down. So, so much of smoke or dust has come up, so many people were injured, so the husband of Saubhagyavati died. So the incident was taken photograph. So itself is sufficient to say no other evidence is necessary. This is what is called res ipsa loquitur. Now, of course, if you are able to memorize those cases and write, that is best. But anyway, since as the topic needs the correct examples, I am going to give in the case laws. Number one, Byrne versus Boddle, Byrne versus Boddle, 1863. Right? So the defendant, he was maintaining a warehouse where he is keeping so much of flour, wheat and others. So one day our plaintiff was walking on the road and this is being maintained, the warehouse is in the upstairs. So suddenly one of the barrels of flour, it was actually damaged, it was broken and the flour along with the barrel fell on the plaintiff, that is Byrne, and he was totally drenched with the flour, covered the floor and they received also injuries. So then simple photograph of him is sufficient. So the incident itself is sufficient, nothing more is necessary. The warehouse owner, that's Mr. Boddle, is directed to pay compensation. Second, collector of Ganjam versus Chandradas 1975. So it is collector means as a representative of the state he was charged. Actually Chandradas, what happened? There is a government hospital in Ganjam district in Odisha, right? The people, the construction of a portico, the government hospital was constructed about 3 years back, particularly the portico portion. So on one day, the portico fell down and so many the so-called patients, they received injuries, and one of them, so Mr. Chandra Das, yes, he is also, he has got serious injuries, right? He filed a case. Then the newspaper persons, they have photographed the same, and it was produced before the court. So court said the falling of the portico within 3 years itself is sufficient. Even the photos are necessary. The incident itself is sufficient because inherent construction defect by the contractor, pay compensation. That's all. No more case, no more argument. That's all. So res ipsa loquitur is such an important issue where you can get the case easily for compensation. Right? Another case is there is a terrible case. Mr. P.A. Narayanan versus Union of India and others, 1998. Of course, it's a criminal case, but as far as the res ipsa loquitur is concerned, it was observed in this particular case. So the wife of the appellant, Mrs. Shanta Devi, right? She was a lecturer working in Bombay city. On 3/1/1981, she left in the local train to Bandra where she was working. She has got first class. She was in the first class. She was only the person traveling the first class. What happened is four culprits, four robbers entered the compartment, threatened her, looted her, or relieved her of her gold jewelry and watch. When she made hue and cry, and she tried to, she actually she has touched the she touched the so-called alarm chain. Yes, but nobody has come to that place. Ultimately, and actually they were enraged by her behavior, and ultimately they raped her and she died. So this is the incident. So Supreme Court found fault with the railway administration. So when she pulled the chain, then it is your duty to come and check up. Simply coming there, just altering the chain to correct size and taking it away, thinking that some unknown person has done it, it's not correct. It has resulted in the death of the woman. So the incident of the looting and rape itself is sufficient. Definitely you pay compensation to the husband of the victim. So this is the importance of res ipsa loquitur. So please go through the cases, and definitely you will appreciate this topic in the law of torts. Thank you very much.